All of us at Geringhoff would like to thank you for taking the time to view this video. You will find the information presented here to be informative and helpful in performing service to Geringhoff harvesting machines. Whenever servicing a Geringhoff product, please observe all safety decals and warnings. Use factory-supplied safety supports on the combine and the Geringhoff head. Use the proper safety equipment required for the task. This may include, but is not limited to, eye protection, foot protection, hearing protection, proper clothing, hand protection, proper tools, and other equipment and supplies as required for the service to be performed.
This is Geringhoff Product Support. Today we're going to talk about replacement or adjustment of the knives on a North Star processing system. Before working on any Geringhoff head, always be sure to engage the safety locks on the combine feeder house.
These are the basic tools required for the job. This is the stock roll knife and the working edge.
Some of the indications that you may need to adjust or replace the knives on the stock roll is if you're having problems with feeding in the field, or a visual inspection of the knife and you find that the knife doesn't have a sharp edge anymore, that it's gotten rounded over, it's dull, and feels kind of blunt. When the knife is new, it's straight from one end to the other, it has a sharp edge on it, and as it wears, it'll sometimes get rounded over and not have that sharp edge to pull anymore. It may have some chips in it, breaks in the hard surfacing, things like that that will indicate it's time to replace them. We'd also look at the setting of the knives. That maybe the edge is still good, but the setting is too wide. And we would set it to the 2 millimeters here where the crop enters in, 0.5 millimeter here by the gearbox. There's also an additional working edge on here. This working edge starts out about 3/4 of an inch tall. When it wears down to about 1/2 inch tall, it's time to be replacing this piece as well. These pieces are both marked left and right. That is marked as you're sitting in the cab looking forward, left on left, right on the right. It is possible on both these pieces to put them on right side up or upside down, forward or backwards. So we always recommend that when you're replacing these knives, do one row at a time so you can reference one of the original rows when you're putting the new knives on to make sure you keep the orientation correct. On a new head when it's delivered, it comes preset from the factory as far as the setting of this knife. And we've found in the service department that if we reset these knives to a tighter tolerance than what the factory has set them to, that we get better performance in the field and the customer gets more satisfaction from how the head works. We like to set these knives so that they're about 2 millimeters apart here where the crop enters in the front to about 0.5 millimeter apart here by the gearbox. From the factory, they may be up to 4 millimeters apart here at the front and 2 millimeters apart here at the back. Also, the vine knife here on the side, we have found that if it's set to about 0.5 millimeter away from the stock roll knives, it does work better as well.
Before beginning the adjustment of the knives, disconnect the PTO shaft from the combine. This will allow you to turn the row units over easily. Turn the rolls over to access first set of bolts for 2 knives. Loosen those bolts enough that you can move the knives, but keep them tight enough that the knives will stay in place when you turn the snapping rolls over. With the bolts loose, slide the 2 knives together, and then insert a 2 millimeter thick shim between the 2 knives and turn the roll unit over until the shim spaces the knives. The bottom of the knives, or the closest to the gearbox, are set to a 0.5 millimeter. 0.5 millimeter is about the thickness of a business card. After setting the knives to 2 millimeters, rotate the snapping rolls back to access the bolts that you loosened to move these knives and tighten them. Recheck the spacing to make sure that we maintain that 2 millimeter spacing. And if everything has stayed in place, rotate it back and torque the bolts. On the two snapping roll knives that we've just set, rotating the snapping roll over until it is in alignment with the vine knife on the side. Loosen the vine knife and set them to be a 1/2 millimeter away from the snapping roll knife from end to end. Once these are set, tighten and torque the bolts that hold the vine knife in place. Now you can use the vine knives as a setting gauge for the other knives on the snapping roll. Once you've set all the knives on the snapping roll, rotate the roll unit over completely to make sure none of the knives contact each other or the vine knife.
On behalf of Geringhoff Product Support, thanks for watching. And as always, if you have any questions about the video you just watched, you can contact us on our service hotline.